In this video, we're going to look at an application problem from section 5.7. And this is going to be example 4. It says you throw a ball straight up from a rooftop 384 feet high with an initial speed of 32 feet per second. And then they give you a function. This is function notation with the parentheses. And the function s of t equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 384 describes the ball's height above the ground, s of t, so s of t is height above the ground, in feet, t seconds after you throw it. The ball misses the rooftop on its way down and eventually strikes the ground. How long will it take for the ball to hit the ground? So, the key idea in terms of solving this problem is that we're looking for how long it will take for the ball to hit the ground. And the ball hits the ground when its height above the ground is 0. So what we're going to do is plug in 0 for s of t. So s of t is height. If the height is 0, then we replace s of t with 0. T is the time in seconds, and that's what we're looking for, since our question is how long it will take for the ball to hit the ground. So I'm going to replace s of t with 0, and then I'm going to be solving for t. And this is a quadratic equation, which is why this problem is in this section. So replace s of t with 0, I get 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 384. Now, what I'm going to do is factor this. For this problem, when I'm factoring, the easiest thing to do is to factor out the GCF first. And actually what you're going to want to do is factor out the negative of the GCF, because I have a negative sign in front of t squared. And remember that you want to keep leading coefficients positive. So I'm going to factor out negative 16, and that's going to leave me with t squared. This is going to change to minus, since it's positive, and negative times negative equals positive. 16 times what is 32? Well, that's going to be 2. And then if I divide 384 by 16, what I get is 24. So this is going to be minus 24. Again, it's going to be negative because I'm factoring out a negative number. So I'm going to factor out the negative 16t first and then factor the trinomial. Now what I want to do here is get rid of the negative 16, and I can do that just by dividing both sides by negative 16. So 0 divided by negative 16 is 0, so that just goes away. So I'm left with 0 equals t squared minus 2t minus 24. Now I'm going to factor this. Two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to negative 2 are going to be negative 6 and positive 4. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So we get t equals 6 and t equals negative 4. Now, the context here is that t is time in seconds after the ball is thrown. So for t equals negative 4, that doesn't really make sense that that could be an answer, because that means that the ball hit the ground 4 seconds before it was thrown. So how could it be on the ground 4 seconds before it was thrown if you're throwing it off a 384-foot building? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So with these problems, a lot of times what happens is you get one negative answer and one positive answer. And the negative answer in terms of the context of the problem doesn't make sense. So you can just throw it out. In this case, 6 is the positive answer, and so that does make sense. So my answer here is 6 seconds. So if we throw the ball, 6 seconds later is when it hits the ground. So that's the answer. Checkpoint problem number 4 is kind of similar. It's a little bit different though because now we're not looking for when the ball hits the ground, but we're looking for when the ball is, the height of the ball is 336 feet. So instead of plugging in 0 for S of t, I'm going to plug in 336 for S of t. Then I'm going to need to move that over to get it in standard form before factoring. And you can see the answer to that in the notes. So do this problem in your notes, check your answer, and then you can move on to the homework.